is world famous for its stately homes. And when it comes to food, our country houses were the tastemakers.
Curry and cockles, it's an absolute first for me.
In this series, we'll sample delicious dishes.
They look wonderful, Mary.
And enjoy the lavish hospitality that these homes were celebrated for.
It looks absolutely stunning.
I'll show you how to cook tasty modern recipes inspired by the history of our great houses.
This is actually Napoleon's chair from Waterloo.
Mind you, I could do with a cushion.
Join me as I meet the families who own these exceptional homes.
The best thing about the staircase, obviously, is going down on a tray or on your bottom.
And find out what it's really like to live,
That looks quite saucy.
work,
Oh, it's very like cutting a hedge.
I think you're better at baking.
and party in the nation's most beautiful stately homes.
I'm not going to drop it.
This week, I'm visiting Scone Palace, Scotland's crowning glory,
They were crowned on this very stone.
where I get to feast and party like a royal. This is your invitation to dine at some of Britain's grandest tables in some of the most beautiful houses in the land. I'm in Scotland, just outside Perth, and approaching Scone Palace, world famous as the crowning place of Scottish kings. For over 400 years, this extraordinary site has been home to the Murray family, now the Earls of Mansfield.
Gosh, this is a pretty impressive approach. Oh, with a crest above. How grand is that? This is amazing. It is enormous.
It's my great pleasure to join the family for a few days in the build-up to one of their renowned dinner parties, culminating in some traditional Scottish reading.
Hello, Mary.
There we are.
Fantastic to meet you. Welcome to Scone.
Just a minute. You look far too young to be the Earl of Mansfield.
I am not the Earl of Mansfield. I am the Earl's son, Viscount Stormont. William. Please call me William.
Hello, William. That's lovely.
Now come on inside.
Brought the sunshine for you.
Yes, you have. Now, let me
Being part Scottish, I do know Scone Palace stands on one of the most significant sites of Scotland's history. Once an abbey, Scone has seen the coronations of all Scotland's kings.
Now, yeah, welcome to our home. Now, I want to show you something special in here.
This goes on forever.
This is the Long Gallery, and this is where the kings processed to their coronation. So a very sacred and hallowed ground.
It is amazing how many kings were crowned here.
42, supposedly, but I believe there may have been many more than that.
So a very, very special palace.
Steeped in history.
Today, this is the home of William's parents, the 9th Earl and Countess of Mansfield. William and his 3 sisters grew up amongst these grand surroundings. And with such a royal history, I'm keen to discover how the family first came to live here.
Now, Mary, there's one thing in here that I particularly want to show you, which is this little picture of a man called David Murray of Gospety. He was the first man in our family to come to Scone, and he became the first Lord Scone in 1608 and was given the lands by King James I, having foiled a plot to kidnap and murder the king. And he was given the position of the king's cupbearer.
Cupbearer? What does cupbearer mean?
There was a ceremonial part to it, but also he had to guard against the king being poisoned. And this was a very dangerous time in Scotland.
And a brave chap, because if he took a mouthful, he'd die himself before the king, wouldn't he?
Well, he was rewarded well for his service.
Having proved themselves loyal servants to the crown, in 1776, the Murrays were promoted to the title of the Earls of Mansfield. Their footing with royalty was assured, and it paved their way for even further royal connections abroad.
So the second Earl of Mansfield, he was the ambassador to Louis XVI in France, just before the French Revolution broke out. This is our library.
Now, just a minute. Where are the books?
The books have been removed because we have our collection of porcelain here. But it's not our most precious thing. Our most precious thing is actually this table here, which was given to us by Louis XVI's wife, Marie Antoinette, who was a very close friend of the second Earl.
You do know people in the right places.
It went so far as the second Earl actually taught Marie Antoinette how to Scottish reel, how to dance.
Talking of reels, I haven't done one since I was very young, but it was Gay Gordon's and Strip the Willow, because I'm half Scots. My mum was Scots, and
Brilliant.
I'm very proud of that side.
Well, I hope you brought your dancing shoes, because we'd love you to join us.
No, I'm a bit heavy-footed, but I'll have a go.
Don't worry, mate. I'll look after you on the dance floor. And it would be great for you to see the palace, you know, really alive in its full glory, lots of guests.
Sorry to interrupt. Coffee is now served down in the private sitting room. Lady Mansfield's down there waiting on you both.
Thank you very much, Jean.
Thank you.
Jean is our housekeeper, or really, we call her our butleress.
It's a very grand title.
Yes,
How
it
long
is.
have you had that title?
Oh, since the early 80s.
And what does that entail?
Everything. Cleaning, serving the public.
What Jean's trying to say is that she's in charge. the house, the palace, wouldn't function without Jean. Thank you very much, Jean. We'll be down soon.
I'm heading from the public side of the palace to the Mansfield private quarters for coffee with William's mother, the Countess.
Hello, Mary. Great pleasure to welcome you here to Scone today.
Having heard about the family's close ties with royalty in the past, I wonder if these connections are still as strong today. Has the royal entertaining continued as the years have gone by?
Yes, it has. And the latest one, which was really good fun, was in 2012, when the Queen had her Jubilee. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, she came quite a lot because it was so near her own home, and she sort of loved Scotland.
I've always wondered, when you have something like royalty to stay, do they come with a huge entourage that you have to put up as well?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But with the Queen, it was quite large and quite a big thing.
They don't come with their own cooks, do they?
No, they don't. We have great fun choosing the menus and getting everything organised, and the royal household are very, very helpful, you know, just tipping you off. Her Majesty the Queen Mother loved any bird, but she didn't like salmon so much. And this is the menu when the Queen Mother came in September the 29th, 1978. We can see she had Earth's Benedict, canard à la orange, duck, which we know that she liked, and then tarte aux pommes.
And this is also a visitor's book.
Yes.
I've always wondered, if royalty come or somebody very grand, do they put messages inside?
No, they just sign their name and date it. They just do it on one whole page of their own. That's that.
I'm in awe.
And when we have very special visitors, my parents-in-law started always asking them to plant trees. And if I take you to the window, we have a couple straight outside here. The most exciting and the oldest one is the one straight ahead of you. It's an oak, and that was planted by James VI and First of Scotland. I mean, that's quite some tree of quite some age. And to the right, we have a Swedish white beam planted by the King of Sweden. And then to the left, we have a Acer planted by the Queen in 1967.
And the river is the River Tay?
Yes, the Silvery Tay, one of the most famous salmon rivers in the world. We might have to take you down there for a spot of fishing. Might be a bit of fun.
I would love that. If we're going on a fishing trip, I'd better prepare something warming. And so I've availed myself of the butleress to lead the way downstairs. Jean, you've spent most of your working life here at Scone.
I've been here now on 40 years, and I've had a lovely time and got on really, really well with the late Earl.
You must have seen William growing up here.
Oh, yes. And he has turned out a very nice young man, very much like his late grandfather.
Goodness gracious.
Now,
That's a range and a half, isn't it?
Yes, it's not in use anymore, but it was. And the staff at that time had to get up at maybe 5 o'clock in the morning.
I would think so.
And get it all warm for the cook coming in.
And that was in Victorian times?
Yes.
And how many kitchen staff would be here in the heyday?
Well, at that time, there was 40 staff. 28 worked in the house itself, and then we had 12 for the horses.
But when you came, how many were here?
5.
Only 5. You must have been run off your feet.
Yes, at times we were.
They call you the boss sometimes.
Yes, William does.
Does he?
Yes. But now I think it's time for you now to take over and
Well,
do your little bit.
I better get going.
Yes.
Let loose in this historic kitchen, I'm inspired to make a Scots classic. What better for a fishing trip than a warming broth?
So I've got a very nice chicken here, and I'm going to first of all cook the chicken. Then I'm going to cook the vegetables in the stock that I make from the chicken. In the olden days, they used to put the whole lot in the pot and have the vegetables overcooked, but I like mine just done.
So to start, lift the whole bird into a large pan with a few bay leaves, season well, and add water.
You really want to cover the chicken because it makes a lot of soup.
Bring to the boil, then simmer the chicken for an hour and a quarter. Then leave aside to cool while you get on with the veg.
I've got 4 leeks here that I've finely shredded, so in they go. Now that looks a lot of leeks, but they will lose their bulk as they're cooked.
Then add a couple of carrots for colour and a few sticks of celery.
Now for the unusual ingredient, prunes. They're a classic for Cock-A-Leekie, and north of the border, they always add prunes. Everything's in the pot now, and I'm going to simmer that until they're tender, and that'll be sort of 20 minutes, but keep your eye on it.
That gives me time to get on with the chicken.
So I've taken all the meat off, and then you have the 2 oysters either side. I reckon that's the cook's perk. And a bit of salt. That's pretty good. It's going to make a very good Cock-A-Leekie soup. So let's have a look at that. There's still a little bite in the carrot. That's how I like it. So in goes all the chicken.
It needs to be piping hot, and don't forget to check the seasoning.
That's a bit of all right. I was a bit nervous of doing that because they have very high standards in the Mansfield household, but I think it'll do nicely.
It's a thrill to be heading out with William and the family dog Pickles to the Tay. It's Scotland's longest river and world famous for the pursuit of the elusive king of fish, the magnificent wild Atlantic salmon.
So how many have you actually landed in your life?
Not as many as I would like, and it's quite tough.
Welcome,
Good morning.
Mary. Can I introduce you to my husband, Lord Mansfield?
Hello, how do you do?
And this is Ian, our gilly.
Good morning.
Very.
Good morning, Mary. Pleased to meet you.
As Gilly, Ian Kirk runs all the fishing trips on the estate's 7-mile stretch of the Tay, where the family have enjoyed fishing rights since 1608.
Mary's going fishing.
But today, he's got me, a complete novice.
OK?
Yep.
Wonderful. Then on to the seat. You're good at this, eh?
I'm ready. Yes.
Right,
Yep.
and down we come. Wonderful.
Now, you really do look the part of a fisherwoman, but you don't have to worry. You won't accidentally catch sharks or anything, because there aren't any here.
We'll see, we'll see.
Are we ready?
I'm ready,
Let's
yes.
go and do it then, eh?
Whoa!
Bye-bye. She's very brave.
It's fantastic.
When you consider that she's decidedly over 21.
It's absolutely
To jump
fantastic.
into a boat like that and go tearing off upstream
It's
is really quite something.
Scotland is one of the few places where the Atlantic salmon are still thriving. And that's why people come. I get people here from America, Japan, Mexico, Australia.
Because it's the best.
Because it's the best. It's like St Andrews for golf. The River Tay is for salmon fishing.
Amazingly, the salmon in this river travel back from their Atlantic feeding grounds to breed in the very waters that they were born. They can leap an incredible 12 feet to overcome obstacles on their journey upstream. Being this clever, I don't hold much hope of catching one.
Now, I'm going to pay the line out for you. Want me to share the cast with you to begin with?
Yes, come on, let's
Right.
do it together.
Right, up, around, Back, 2, 3, tap. There you are. Well
Come
done.
along, friend.
Right. So, rod tip comes down. Now, this is a good spot because there's stones out here. The fish like to sit in here.
If I am lucky enough to catch a salmon, there's a good chance we'll have to throw it back. Here on the Tay, there are strict rules for catch and release that ensure salmon fishing will be enjoyed for generations to come.
Ah, wonderful. That was a good cast.
I'm much happier when you're near me. So, Ian, which of the fish can you take out of the river and which are the ones that you've got to leave in?
We at Scone Palace return over 90% of the fish.
Because you're interested in conservation.
Conservation is the key.
Ian tells me that in the 19th century, the 4th Earl of Mansfield, another William Murray, could see that overfishing was endangering the salmon population.
Back in 1852, it was all netting, 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 killing, killing, killing. The Earl of Mansfield decided, no, we can't do this anymore. So he was right. From now on, any salmon that you net, we're going to strip the eggs from the females and the milk from the males. We're going to mix them up and we're going to plant those fertilised eggs in the fish ponds.
The 4th Earl built 2 fish ponds, which were used as a hatchery to rear salmon from eggs to restock the river. This ingenious conservation programme saw as many as 300,000 salmon nursed into life every 2 years.
Was this something that nobody else was doing?
Nobody else was doing it.
He was the first.
He was the first.
He was way ahead of his time.
Way ahead.
Quite remarkable. And the family like to think that the 4th Earl's actions 150 years ago helped secure the Tay as one of the best spots for salmon fishing in the world.
Right, Mary, it's up to you now.
I think big friendship could go on this.
Oh, it could, couldn't it?
Yes. Right.
Okay. Up, around. That's it. Back, just... Nearly, nearly, nearly. That was the wind that caused that.
Do you know, Ian, I don't think our luck's in, and I think the fish are all smiling down there, thinking, you didn't get me today.
Hello, Mishka.
On you go.
I may be empty-handed, but there's always a warming consolation of my Cock-A-Leekie soup and good company.
Gosh, that looks steaming and good. It's a long time since breakfast.
This has got a
Cute.
So what was the biggest salmon that's ever been caught on the Tay out there?
Oh, in the 1920s, there was one that was 64 pounds. It was caught by Miss Ballantyne, who was a slip of a girl.
Was it shown to everybody?
Oh, God, yes. It was put on show in the Perth High Street. At Malloch's, the
monster of the Tay.
If you were wading in that swam past you, you would come out the water. Certain.
I must say, this is very good soup indeed. My instinct is to rush off and look for some more, but I think probably we've eaten the lot.
No, there's more in the pot, I'm sure.
Brings out the inner pig in me.
With the Tay on their doorstep, the king of fish has featured on royal menus at Scone for centuries. Lady Mansfield, herself a trained cook, is going to show me how she likes to prepare it. And I'm privileged to be invited into her family kitchen.
I'm really pleased to be back warming my bottom here.
We are so lucky because Ian has managed to find us a salmon.
Lovely.
Virtually all the Atlantic salmon you can buy is farmed, but the wild fish have a firmer texture and makes a rare treat.
What I like to do is to cook it completely naturally, just baking it in the oven and with a delicious hollandaise sauce.
Not mucking it about.
Just simple and have the real flavours.
To keep the salmon succulent, Lady Mansfield is going to wrap it in a large sheet of buttered foil, and to bring out the delicate flavour, she's simply using lemon, fresh dill and a sprinkle of seasoning.
Can I make a cheeky suggestion?
Yes,
I find that the way you automatically do it is wrap it up and do a great big roll of the foil on top, which stops the top of it getting cooked. But a slightly better way is to pull this over the top like that. And then, imagining it's a huge Cornish pasty, you just turn that round. But you must tuck it in, because I don't want all the juices going over your oven, which I've already noticed was exceedingly clean. And so we've got our wonderful Cornish pasty.
That is
and none of the juice.
a good tip.
While that goes into a hot oven for 20 minutes, we're joined by Lady Mansfield's daughter, Iona.
Very nice to see you. And what's that you've got there?
This is wild garlic.
Wow, that's memories of walking through woods and it just knocks you back. What are you going to do with it?
My mother's favourite sauce is a hollandaise, but mine is a wild garlic pesto.
Have I got to say which is the best? I think I'll be very tactful. I know which side my friends like it.
Lady Mansfield's traditional hollandaise starts with a white wine vinegar reduction, flavoured with parsley stalks, bay leaves, few peppercorns and a large blade of mace. The cooled reduction is added to 4 egg yolks and then heated gently over a pan of hot water while adding the softened butter. To make her pesto, Iona just blitzes the wild garlic with pine nuts, lemon juice and a good lug of olive oil.
And then, Mary, if you could possibly start grating some
I thought you'd
parmesan.
find something for me to do.
She finishes it off by stirring in the parmesan and adding a little more olive oil to get it to the right consistency.
And that's just perfect to put straight onto the salmon when it's ready.
Well, it's got another friend over there that's going with the salmon. How's that going?
I think we're nearly there. Here we are. I'm just going to get it out. Just look at that.
That looks beautiful, doesn't it? And the skin comes off so easily when it's straight out of the oven. It is such an enormous treat to have wild salmon. And this is straight out of the Tay. It couldn't be better.
No, it's a real treat.
That hollandaise is rich and just a classic to go with the salmon. Now, new for me is your pesto. It's far more interesting than just putting crushed garlic in it. The colour is amazing and it's a good flavour. But this is so delicate. I think the hollandaise goes a little more with it.
So I think Mary's got your vote, Mummy.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I love it.
The Scone estate has always provided its royal visitors with some of the finest fare in Scotland. To discover why this place became such a draw for royalty, William's going to show me the very spot where 42 Scottish kings were crowned.
Now, Mary, this is the Moot Hill. And this is the reason why people come to Scone, is to see this and to stand on top of it.
This looks more like a mound to me than a hill.
Well, it's a very important mound. Legend has it that this hill was not just called the Moot Hill, it was also called the Boot Hill. And that's because when the kings and all their magnates came here, they all brought in their boots the soil of their own land. And so when they arrived here, they then poured that soil out to create what is now the Moot Hill. And the king would be crowned on that hill. So there's this huge significance around that. And this is a real relic of the past and a real sort of important place for the Scottish nation.
And it's what stands on top of Moot Hill that for nearly 1,200 years has been at the heart of Scottish and later British coronations.
So as we walked up this hill, we were leaving the secular world and coming into a very sacred place, which housed the stone of Scone, commonly known as the Stone of Destiny. This stone was brought here in 840 by the first King of Scotland, Kenneth MacAlpine, and some people say it is a Roman altar, some people say it came from the Holy Land. But what we do know, Mary, is that the stone has been used for important coronations of James I, Charles II, Robert the Bruce, Macbeth.
When you say Macbeth, is that Shakespeare's Macbeth?
Not specifically Shakespeare's Macbeth. Shakespeare created a sort of like wicked and evil king. Historians now think Macbeth was actually a very good Scottish king.
And they were crowned on this very stone.
Well, not this exact stone, but one that looks very similar to this that's no longer here, because the original stone was taken from here in 1297 by the guy, what I call the bad guy in Braveheart, Edward I, the hammer of the Scots, and he took it to Westminster, where all coronations since have used it.
The Stone of Destiny is wrapped in myth and legend and is a revered symbol of the Scottish nation. I remember the news on Christmas Day in 1950. 4 Scottish students stole back the stone from Westminster Abbey.
It caused a lot of problems. In fact, they shut the border between England and Scotland for the first time in 400 years. But after, I think, a very long chase, the stone was returned to Westminster Abbey before ending up in Edinburgh now.
So when the next monarch is crowned?
It will be on the Stone of Scone in Westminster.
OK.
With all the magnates around them and the bishops. And of course, then there'll be the grand ceremony and they will plant a crown on their fair head. And in this case, it would be Arise, Queen Mary of Cakes.
Well, look, when it really happens, I shall be watching and I shall have a very special memory of coming here to school.
But William tells me, after the crowns of Scotland and England were joined by the 1707 Act of Union, that the subsequent rebellions caused Scotland to fall from favour, and not a single royal visited Scone for almost 2 centuries.
Scotland was not à la mode.
So what changed all that then?
Well, that was actually partly to do with a very important visit here by Queen Victoria on her Jubilee tour in 1842.
That must have been absolutely amazing. And did she come through that arch down there?
She didn't come through that archway because actually we built an entirely separate and new driveway there. And it wasn't the only thing they did either. They brought butlers out of retirement, they had furniture specially made. So this was a gargantuan effort.
And the expense?
A huge amount.
And how long did all that take?
It took 2 years.
But how long did she stay?
Just the one night.
And that's all?
That's all.
All
one
that
night.
effort, all that expense, just for one night?
Incredible, but she was queen of the greatest empire there's ever been. She was the #1 monarch.
William's grandfather, the 8th Earl, opened the palace to the public in 1966, and now 100,000 people come to Scone each year. The legacy of Victoria's visit is a huge part of the draw, and William has pointed me in the direction of the very room where Queen Victoria and Prince Albert dined, to find curator Graham McIntyre.
You must be Graham.
Hello.
This is a very fine dining table here.
This is Queen Victoria's table. It was made specifically for that night.
And was that quite expensive?
In today's money, £75,000.
£75,000? That's an enormous amount. I mean, the whole visit cost so much.
It nearly bankrupted the Earl said, but it was so important to him, and everything had to be right.
And where would Queen Victoria sit?
Victoria liked the heat, so Victoria and Albert actually sat with their backs to the fire.
What a good idea.
Yes.
Amongst the illustrious guests were the Prime Minister, Sir Robert Peel, and the Duke and Duchess of Buccleuch. Graham also tells me how the table was a feast for the eyes, decorated with sugar sculptures by the famous Italian confectioner William Jarrin, and shortbread embossed with the Mansfield coat of arms in gold leaf.
It's quite a special feeling to think I'm sitting on the same seat as Queen Victoria.
Victoria was just 23 when she visited. She and Albert had been married for 2 years, and I'm told the bed that the couple slept in is still here. I'm hoping Palace archivist Sarah Adams can tell me more.
Hello. Hello, you must be Sarah.
I am. It's lovely to meet you.
And this is Queen Victoria's bed.
It is, yeah.
Am I going to be allowed to sit on the bed?
We've been told we can.
Gracious. It isn't every day that we get to sit on Queen Victoria's bed. Well, I can say it's pretty hard, isn't it?
No, it's not the most comfortable.
To reveal the true cost of Queen Victoria's stay, Sarah has a ledger of the household accounts.
This section here is looking at the cost of the groceries, and it's done in 3-month periods. So you can see that in the period before the visit, the total amount that was spent was £51, 15 shillings and 9 pence. And this would roughly be just over £5,000. But for the period that she was here, our total has gone up to £289, 17 shillings and 8.5 pence. And this was roughly £30,000.
They must have had the finest of ingredients. They were killing the fatted calf.
Yes, and the 2 years leading up to the visit, there was a lot of work done. We've got invoices for upholstery, paper hanging, painting, masonry work, ironmongery. And when these were all added together, the final cost was £3,800, a modern equivalent of over £377,000.
It's amazing, really, isn't it?
Yes.
This was enormously expensive. How did the fourth Earl feel? It must have worried him.
Well, we do know how he felt about the visit because he wrote to his mother about it just about a month beforehand. As you may easily imagine, a royal visit this year will be very inconvenient. Yet it would be perfectly inhospitable for me to decline.
It didn't sound as though he was that keen. Do you think she appreciated coming here to Scone?
That's an interesting question. We're told that Victoria went to bed at 11 o'clock, which is an hour later than she would usually go. So hopefully she was having a nice time. But what we do know for certain is that Victoria and Albert fell in love with Scotland on their visit. And it was also not long after this that Victoria bought the Balmoral estate.
So they were setting the trend to visit Scotland. It's a good job he spent all that money, wasn't it?
One of the great draws to Scotland for Victoria and Albert was, of course, the landscape. The Scone estate is spread over 27,000 acres, and its prime position at the very beginning of the Highlands made it an important first port of call for visiting royalty and nobility. Much of the region became a vast outdoor playground for the upper classes, with deer stalking seen as the pinnacle of country sports.
Here they come. It's about time.
I would love to catch sight of these magnificent wild animals, and to help us are the estate's own gamekeepers, Roddy McIntosh and his son Stuart.
Good morning, Lady Mansfield. Nice to see you again.
Here we go.
Young Mary Berry, welcome to Logamond.
My, you look smart. You're all in the same tweed. Is it a special family tweed?
It is, yes. It's nice, it's warm.
It's really...
It's quite waterproof.
Is it water? I was just thinking, should you have a mac on top of it?
If it keeps the sheep dry, it's good for us as well.
Well, you look the part, certainly.
So if we're all feeling fit, it's on foot from now.
Right.
It's not the hunting season, so we're just going to have a look for the herd and see how close we can get. More of a deer safari, really.
Stalking, historically, has been the sport of kings.
Yes, it goes really back to the 11th and 12th century when it was the king's prerogative, and they developed various royal forests. And anybody else caught poaching deer had some, severe penalties.
Well, coming right up to date, venison has become really popular. Of course, it's very good for us. It's lovely and lean, no fat.
And it's simply delicious, too.
Oh, it is.
It's a very good thing that we can now all enjoy venison, and it's because landowners, like the Earl of Mansfield, maintain these huge areas for deer and grouse, that we can still have this wild landscape that has remained unchanged for centuries.
Oh, Roddy, I think Stuart and I are going to hold back now, aren't we?
Yes,
I think your best chance is to go off on your own, the three of you.
On. OK, right.
By keeping the group to a minimum and staying in line, there's less chance of the stalker being seen by the deer, and Roddy makes sure that we keep downwind of their very sensitive noses.
I saw the head of the deer walking there, Mary. So I don't know where they've gone just now, so we'll just need to keep creeping up here. So we'll carry on and we'll see what we can see.
OK, I'll keep close. Look, at its little white tail. Isn't that beautiful?
There's another two up here. We'll need to stay low. And we'll go up to the top of this ridge here and we'll hopefully get a better view.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll get close.
The deer have lain down in front of us.
Are they?
Yeah, they're lying down like us. So we can't see them, so we'll need to wait here for a little while to see if they'll stand up.
And will you see their heads just come up first?
Yeah, just you'll see the ears. And they'll always find you before you see them most of the time.
And you were gamekeeper for William's grandfather?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And how many years were you with him?
That was 40 years with him, yeah.
Did you ever travel to other estates with Earl of Mansfield?
Travelled all over Berkshire, Lincolnshire, Northumberland. Most of the times you were told where you were going. There was only once when we were going away and I said, "Where are we going, my lord?" And he wouldn't tell me. And so we started heading east then. We started going a bit north. And I was starting to twig a wee bit. So I said to him, "This wouldn't involve some corgis by any chance, my lord?" And he said, "Well, don't stand on them." So we knew we were going then.
Now tell me about it. Who was there?
The Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen.
And how did you get on? Did this talk to you?
Oh, yes. They're the same as Lord Mansfield. It's totally a relaxation for them. You're in the hills like this, peace and quiet, no one worrying you.
What an honour.
It was an honour, yeah.
Since the extinction of the wolf, deer have no natural predators here. And Scottish natural heritage recognise that in order to sustain a healthy deer population, culling is necessary. But William explains that it has to be done right.
You pick out the old or the ones that are weak or that are like ill, and that's an effort to conserve the greater whole, the greater body of animals, to keep them all stronger.
Well, that's quite right.
Well, Mary, you're looking a wee bit cold. Would you like a wee dram?
I'll never say no, especially when there's a bit of a wind coming up.
William?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Don't spill any.
A Scotsman doesn't spill it.
This will warm up the cockles of our hearts.
Yes. No.
Well,
Here's your very good health, then, Mary.
Cheers.
If I blew and you lit a match, it would go up.
As we head back from the hills, Lady Mansfield tells me venison will be the fuel for our dancing at the upcoming party. But first, I want her help with my take on a dish that has long been a favourite on the menu for royal visitors at Scone Palace.
Well, Mary, we are so lucky. Roddy and Stuart have managed to provide us with some fillet.
It looks amazing. It's quite big. Which kind of deer did it come from?
This is red deer, the monarch of the glen.
That's the great big fine one that we see pictures of.
Yes.
Start off by sealing the meat in a very hot pan.
Pepper and salt on the top.
Gosh, you can smell it already.
Then I'm going to turn that over. That's just what it should do, isn't it? Perfect.
When the venison is nicely browned, leave to one side to cool. Instead of the usual mushroom or pâté topping, I'm going to use caramelised onions to crown this Wellington. Gently cook the onions in the same pan, and once soft and golden, set aside half for the gravy. Then add chopped thyme, light muscovado sugar, and balsamic vinegar.
That's it.
Smell it.
Have a smell.
You want both onions and meat completely cool before you wrap them in pastry. And I'm using puff pastry rolled out nice and thinly.
Now, normally, you would put beaten egg when you're sealing it, but brushing mustard not only adds to the flavour, it means that it will stick.
That's a really good tip. I didn't know that.
It sticks like mad.
This is where it all comes together. I've got a really neat way to wrap the venison in the pastry. Simply cut 2 rectangles from either side.
There we are. I'm going to turn those in like that and then roll it over gently, like that, like that. And then the fold is underneath and the top is where all the onions are.
That looks fantastic.
If you see a little bit of a gap there, there's nothing like a little pinch to get it together because we don't want the juices coming out.
Use the pastry you've cut off to make some decorations for the top and give it all a good brush with some egg wash. Pop it in the fridge to chill right down before cooking. While we're ladies in waiting, Lady Mansfield has an amazing culinary surprise from the palace archives.
It's a letter from the Duke of Wellington to my dear Lady Mansfield, dated September the 11th, 1833, with his signature at the bottom. So isn't that fun?
Absolutely amazing.
The other most extraordinary thing is he's enclosed a recipe. And it's a recipe for how to make butter. Put the cream into a strong linen cloth. Dig a hole and let the bottom be large enough to allow the cream to lie almost 4 inches deep all over it. Cover up with the earth. Let it remain 24 hours. Take it out and pour the cream, which will be very thick, into a bowl and stir it well with a wooden spoon or ladle. It is in bad weather that this mode of making butter is particularly advantageous.
I think the letter is worth an awful lot more than the recipe.
I think the recipe's barky.
This Wellington goes in the oven at 200 fan for about 15 minutes, while I get on with making a gravy worthy of the man himself. Stir in a tablespoonful of flour to the remaining onions, before gradually adding hot beef stock. And in goes a dollop of red currant jelly.
There's another ingredient that's going in which is very important, and that's the port.
Then let it bubble away until it looks rich and glossy before sieving out the onions.
Well, Mary, here it is, and the smell was so good that I met 2 people outside who were very keen to be allowed to try some.
Lovely to see you again, Roddy. Well, nobody knows more than you about venison and deer.
Roddy is joined by head gardener Brian Cunningham, and I hope they're in for a treat.
I think it's best to do it in thick slices. You'd rather have a thick slice than a thin one, I bet. Yes, right. It's going through like butter. I hope that it's beautifully pink.
Oh, just look at that. Isn't that fantastic?
Is that how it should be? You're the expert.
Lovely.
On this occasion, it's not going to be ladies first, it's boys first, because you're jolly hungry. Come on. It's funny, all the chaps like the gravy, don't they? But we have put quite a lot of port, and I know that you like a wee tipple from time to time.
Not often you get Mary Berry to come and cook for you, is it?
Well, I love to see the smile on their faces. That's what matters to me.
It's very nice. I think I'll have some more.
That's right. Come on.
I think I've won over the head gardener Brian with my Wellington. And in return, he's kindly agreed to show me the estate's 8-acre Pinetum, a rare collection of majestic trees. Planted back in 1848 by the 4th Earl of Mansfield, it's a magnificent example of the Victorian craze for collecting plants from around the world. But it all began in 1810, when the 3rd Earl employed an 11-year-old boy who would go on to become one of the most renowned plant hunters of all.
So do you know the name David Douglas?
I think I do.
We've got strong ties with him because he was actually born here in the old village of Scone, and he served his apprenticeship here before moving on and eventually working for the RHS and doing a bit of plant hunting and exploration up in the northwest of America.
And of course, that's a huge journey in those days.
All to just bring us back some treasures. But what he's most famous for is his trees, and his forest trees in particular. So, maybe we should get out now and show you some of these, Mary. So we've got some noble firs, some grand firs. But this cracker here, this is the tree that I was wanting to show you.
And what is it?
Well, this is one of David Douglas's most important introductions.
Must be a Douglas fir.
That's right. And it's not just any old Douglas fir. This is one of the first Douglas firs in the country, planted in 1834 by seed sent back from America by David Douglas. If you imagine Scotland from the 1600s onwards, our trees were being decimated for the wars, shipbuilding, the Industrial Revolution. And David Douglas noticed that these trees were grown straight, they were going to be perfect for timber.
Brian explains that along with the Sitka spruce, the Douglas fir became the backbone of Scottish timber production, helping the country's woodland coverage recover from 4% in 1900 to almost 20% now.
So we have to thank David Douglas.
We certainly do.
But he never saw the result. If he looked at Scotland now and the whole landscape is lots of forests of pines, he'd be very proud.
He would be, I'm quite right.
But thanks are also due to the likes of the third Earl, who supported David Douglas, enabling him to transform Scottish forestry into the billion-pound industry it is today.
Hello, Brian. It's Lady Mansfield. Have you still got Mary with you?
I sure do.
Please, could you bring her to the walled garden? Thank you.
We're on our way.
Today, Brian and the family are carrying on the spirit of the third and fourth Earls with plans to reinstate the orchard in the 4-acre Victorian walled garden.
We've got here, it's been quite a trek.
That's marvellous. And you know, I said that when we had important people to come and visit us, we really liked it if we could manage to get them to plant a tree for us.
Oh, right. Well, there's a lovely great hole there, looks perfect.
So it would be just fantastic if we could ask you to plant a tree.
Come on, let's get
If
going.
I give you the planting spade?
Gosh, that's beautifully shiny.
And Mary, we've chosen a William pear.
Oh, it's got a good root.
Oh, getting into it now. Fantastic.
There she goes. Is that OK?
It's beautiful, thank you.
Absolutely perfect.
Well, I feel in very good company with all the royals at Scone Palace. Let's hope it grows to be a very fine tree.
As my visit draws to an end, the palace is gearing up for what will be a real treat. A grand dinner for 40 of Lord and Lady Mansfield's great friends, followed by traditional Scottish reeling.
Now, I've got to get my bearings here. This must be where the dancing is. But last time I saw it, there was a table the whole length of the room. I hope all those statues stay like that, with the bouncing up and down of the reels, because it certainly will make the floor bounce. I can see that you're busy, Jean. Is this an exciting time for you?
Yes, it's lovely, lovely, really exciting, really exciting. This is for the pre-dinner drinks tonight. We're having champagne.
Nothing but the best. Talking of nothing but the best, were you here when the Queen came?
Yes.
What drink did she have?
Dubonnet. And she had to get a new bottle because, well, we kind of thought maybe somebody had served her a bad drink, maybe a bottle that had in the back of the cupboard for a number of years. It's the same with Princess Margaret. When she was only once ever been here that I know of, and when she came, it was she made up her own gin and tonic.
Did she? And did she like it?
Yes.
We've heard she enjoyed it.
Yes.
I've been tasked with coming up with a suitably Scottish pud for the party. So I've recruited William and a bottle of scotch, and I'm inspired to make an old favourite full of fine Scots ingredients.
Cranachan couldn't be more Scottish. In fact, my mamma would be very proud of me. Will you help me?
I'll try to help.
The first thing to do is to caramelise the oats to make them nice and crunchy. So equal amounts of light muscovado sugar and jumbo Scottish oats go into the pan with a knob of butter.
Just get turning with that.
Okay, so let's just flip it around.
Flip it around, preferably not all over the table. And I've got these raspberries. Now, am I right in thinking that this area is particularly famous for raspberries?
Yes. Yes. This would be the raspberry bowl of Britain. Because we have very long summer days. Bit of rain, it is Scotland, but long summer days, that's the key.
Now for the cream. As this Cranachan is for a special occasion, I'm going to make it extra luxurious by whisking double cream into rich mascarpone. When the oats are beautifully brown, put to one side to cool.
Now we need the whiskey. Shall we judge it? What do you think? Like that?
I think that looks perfect.
Oh, well, we'll see. We'll see how we get.
Fold the cooled oats into the whiskey and cream along with those lovely Scottish raspberries.
It's a bit like Eton mess.
It is, yeah.
But it's Scottish.
Scottish mess.
Scottish mess. It is really sheer luxury. Come on.
All right. I reckon you might have topped the chart with that. That's very good. And give us good energy for the dancing to come as well.
And we need it. Or some of us will.
Always serve at the guest's left-hand side. Water and the wine at the guest's right-hand side.
Down in the kitchen, Steve Gilroy, the head chef, is hard at work, and I can't wait to see what he's serving ahead of my pud for tonight's grand dinner.
May I come into the chef's domain?
Hello.
What's going on, Steve?
Okay, we're preparing canopies for the dinner that I believe you're attending.
Lady Mansfield has said you're going to have venison in some form.
Yeah, we have some lovely roe deer from the estate. It's the same dish that I done for Lord Mansfield's 60th last year.
So it's well practiced?
Yeah, it's well practiced.
Oh, that's good. And goodness gracious, what is this?
This is a haggis bonbon, and it's with a whiskey jus. So you eat the haggis and then drink the jus.
You don't want too many of those.
No, well, it depends.
A huge array of the Murray's family friends have gathered for the night. And I'm told that there are many fine Scottish dancers amongst them. And I've got my mother's Wilson tartan sash to help me fit in.
Mary, can I introduce you to Jane McNabb?
Hello. How do you do?
This is Barn Ivory, Barn Ivory, and this is Jane's husband, Jamie McNabb.
Hello. I have to look. Is that badger? Or what? No, what is
horsehair.
Horsehair.
All right.
You can see how ignorant I am.
Come on, then.
Dinner is served, and Jean is in her element, keeping everything flowing smoothly.
Thank you.
The seared venison is the star of the show. And with the palace sparkling and fully brought to life, it's easy to imagine the many royals enjoying the Murray hospitality throughout the centuries.
On the one that Mary done it would look like that, all right?
Right, OK.
And the chef has made sure there's enough of my Cranachan for everyone.
Let battle commence. Ha-ha! Nah.
one day you will be the Earl of Mansfield. Have you thought how you feel about that?
Quite the responsibility. That's 16 plus generations. One thing that I've always been keen to ensure is that I don't want to be known as William who just went home. Because that's what I could very easily do, but I wouldn't be able to cope with that. I want to go out into the world and earn my own stripes.
And the relationship that you have with your staff is quite extraordinary. It means a lot to you, doesn't it?
It means a huge amount to me. And theoretically speaking, they should call me now my lord, which I find really strange. So I insist upon them all calling me still William, because that's what they've called me for years.
So you wish to carry on the traditions of Scone?
Very, very much so. And I want to continue tradition and marry the old to the new and sort of drag Scone into the 21st century and beyond. And I'm very excited by that.
It's all coming back to me, sort of. But what fun to be reeling again.
We turn, and now to Will.
It's been so wonderful to be here amongst all this incredible history at Scone and get a taste of the royal pleasures that so delighted all the kings and queens who came here over the past 12 centuries. I'll never forget being given this one-off peek into the private side of this Scottish national treasure. And it's good to know that with William and his family and their loyal staff, its future is in safe hands. Next time, I visit Powderham Castle on the Devon coast to meet the youngest generation of one of Britain's oldest families.
The cream before the jam.
Who are taking on the challenge of a great estate. There's an awful lot for you to do here, Charlie, and doing things a bit differently.
The best thing about the staircase, obviously, is going down on a tray or on your bottom.